AITA for not including my son's adopted child in my will?
My wife and I are in our 60s. We are thinking of retiring soon and we are trying to get our finances and everything we own in order. For example, we're finally selling our old house because it's too big and we don't need it. We want to live in a quieter place and a smaller house. We have 3 kids, all adults by now. Each of our kids have their own kids as well. We have a daughter with 1 kid, a son with 2 and another son with 2 biological kids and a stepdaughter. Our youngest son was married. About 10 or so years ago he cheated on his wife and they got divorced. He cheated with his current wife. Then he adopted her daughter. We want to divide our estate between our children and our grandchildren. We had a family gathering to talk about some of these things, especially the house, in case any of our children wanted to buy it themselves. Our son got very angry when he heard that we're cutting off his adopted child from the will. We told him she's not our family and we don't support his life choices and how he ruined his family. He told us to stop holding a grudge for something that happened years ago and accept the child, or cut him and his family off. My wife and I think that his new wife and the child are living proof of him ruining his family. Do you think we are wrong in this? She is a child and he's right that she's his. But does that automatically makes her our family? He said we're treating his wife and daughter poorly and we're acting like assholes towards a kid. The stepdaughter and the adopted daughter are the same girl. My son married her mother and then adopted her. Questions. The girl was 1 or 2 years old when my son and his mother started their relationship. We don't see or talk to each other often, only in family gatherings. They live in another state. She doesn't call us her grandparents. What each of our kids is getting are family heirlooms and not money. All the money will be distributed between our grandkids in our will to hopefully help them get their education paid. My son doesn't have contact with his ex-wife or his biological kids. He cut them off and didn't even want to pay child support. My wife and I helped our daughter-in-law and our grandchildren. To make it clear, what my son is getting from us is some photos and items from his childhood that we keep. It's essentially trash, but we like to look at them every once in a while to remember our kids' childhoods. He isn't getting money or jewelry. I'm getting a lot of comments. Sorry if I can't answer all the questions. For those who wonder if the girl could actually be biologically my son's daughter, I don't know and it doesn't make a difference to me or my wife. For those who say that love should be unconditional, I disagree. Love is always conditional to the bare minimum to maintain a bond. That's my opinion. Info. Is your youngest son in touch with his biological kids? Does he treat them and his ex-wife well? If not, then I completely agree with your opinion and you should cut off him and his new wife. NTA. It's your money and you get to decide how it's split. I do think it's unfair though to exclude the kid and not your son. After all, he is the one that nuked his previous family, not the kid. I'd personally write him out and include the kid, but that's me. Info. How old was she when your son and his wife got together and then when she was adopted? How much older are his other kids from the adopted sister? Does she call you grandpa and grandma? What has your relationship looked like with her the last 10 years? I'm really torn because your son did blow up his family, but if you've been treating her the same as all your other grandchildren, loving her, gifting her, etc., I could understand why this is a shock. I can't make judgment because there are nuances that I think really matter, mainly in how you've been treating and communicating your relationship intentions with them this last decade. NTA. It's your decision, and if you don't consider her your family, then I don't think you are obligated to give her money. But I do want to ask how your relationship to this girl is. My son doesn't have contact with his ex-wife or his biological kids. He cut them off and didn't even want to pay child support. My wife and I helped our daughter-in-law and our grandchildren. I think a guy who doesn't keep in touch with two of his children doesn't get to dictate his parents' will. NTA. Given your comments, I'm going to say NTA. You don't have a relationship with this child. And your son has a lot of nerve to accuse you of treating his adopted child poorly when he himself refuses to have a relationship with his biological kids. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. But you should prepare yourself. It sounds like you are already LC with your son. But he will probably go NC over this. NTA, your money, your decision. Does your son have a good relationship with his bio kids? You sure know the meaning of family. You disinvited that adopted stepkid from all family gatherings too. Make sure they know how you really feel. You are entitled to your beliefs. Just as you have to take the reactions without a peep. Do what you want, but don't try to justify your choices. The justifications make you look punitive and petty. Both NTA because it's your money and you can do with it what you please. I sort of understand why you would think it's okay to not leave her money. Your son chose to cheat and bring her into his family. You did not. But as an adopted child myself, YTA, because it makes me wonder how you've treated her at birthdays, holidays, and etc. My adoption is a little different. I was a baby, no affairs. But there were still family members who thought I was less important to the family because I wasn't blood related. You might not view her as family, but it's also not her fault that her parents are AH. I truly hope she doesn't feel this from you all the time. Punish your son who made the decisions he did directly rather than by proxy via an innocent child. YTA. He's your son and he adopted the girl. She's your grandkid. Why don't you just leave your 3 children equal shares? That way you wouldn't have to worry about this issue. And you wouldn't be rewarding your children who have more children than others. It would have pissed me off if my parents had left more to my sister's family because she has more children than I have. However, it is your money, your choice. So let me get this straight. You don't support your son's life choices and how he ruined his family. Yet you give him an inheritance, objects, money, whatever, and not his adopted daughter. Because of what your adult son has done. Your money, your choice. But honestly, I'm still going with because of how you treat a child who has nothing to do with whatever her adoptive dad did. It's not just about the inheritance. The way you write about her makes you an AH. My wife and I think that his new wife and the child are living proof of him ruining his family. Don't get me wrong. Your son is a major off for cheating. But in my opinion, you are as much an AH by blaming a kid and treating her differently only because she reminds you of what your own son did. You act as if you were a victim in this whole story. Poor us. This child is a constant reminder of how our son, that we raised, acted badly towards his wives. NTA. And if you feel that this child and her mother are not family, case closed. Period. Leave your dollar for your bio grandchildren as you please. YTA. The only person you will hurt is the child. And you will hurt her forever. If you want to cut anyone out, how about the son? He's the guilty party.
NTA. Your money, your choice.
NTA. It is your money and should go where you want it to. YTA. He adopted her. She is his child. She is your grandchild. Saying, we don't have a relationship with them, is one thing. But it sounds like you never tried to have a relationship with this kid. who did nothing wrong and don't like her only because of the actions of her father. Your son. Cut him out of the will if you don't support his choices. Not the child. I'm going with NTAU, and your wife made your boundaries clear from the get-go, even with the little girl. Also, generally grandkids do not typically receive inheritance. It generally goes to your own children unless one of your children passed away before you did, then their share would go to their children. Just because your grown son chose to adopt a child does not automatically entitle adoptive child to other relatives' money, estate. Your son chose to adopt the child, not you.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.